Good afternoon. I don't know if you guys set that up that way, but that was perfect because Zayo's position is that behind all the wireless technology are a bunch of wires that make it all work. So my name's Dennis Kyle. I'm with Zayo. We are a company that's actually headquartered here on the Front Range with major offices up in Boulder, offices here in Denver, and then all across the country. As far as who Zayo is, we're an infrastructure provider, communications infrastructure provider, providing fiber-based services across the globe, North America and Europe. We got 11.5 million miles of fiber, 51 data centers, and operate in 391 markets. Here in Colorado, bringing it home, we've got about 3,400 miles of fiber. We have about 3,000 connected buildings, and we operate or serve fiber to towers of about 834 here in the Denver area. And Denver, like all cities, I think is facing a number of challenges associated with increased population growth. 90% of the population growth is going to occur in cities, and that's putting stresses on resources, infrastructure, and the like. One of the solutions, of course, to that is a smart city. And smart city ranges from public safety to smart data to the power grid, et cetera. All of these, in our opinion, are linked by fiber infrastructure that provides the communications path for the data. When it comes to the power grid, that's important in the area of a smart city because it allows the power grid to handle fluctuations in energy being consumed and being driven by renewables and solar, which tend to fluctuate from time to time. And then at the same time, all of the data that the energy company needs to use in order to process that and manage the data associated with it resides in the cloud. So again, another scenario in which the processing takes place in one place and fiber is the technology that allows it to occur. Similarly, we have mobility. This is something that's been in the news for quite a bit. We've heard several people talk about autonomous vehicles. This is an area where the wires are supporting the wired infrastructure. When we talk about autonomous vehicles, of course, you've got a level set, right? So autonomous vehicle level 5 is where we're hoping to get to eventually. That's where the cars drive themselves. Today, a lot of the infrastructure discussions are related to 2, 3, and 4, where Waymo is participating, Uber, and Lyft. What's interesting about these is that autonomous cars drive tons of data. 40 terabytes of data are coming out of that car every hour. 50 to 500 gigabytes are actually leaving that car and heading into the network. That's 500 times what we see from an iPhone today. And then once it hits the network, it gets split into two categories: vehicle to network and vehicle to infrastructure. The vehicle to network is what we hear about when we talk about 5G. Vehicle to network, our infrastructure, is when we're talking about connecting directly to the city's infrastructure. Now, when you talk about 5G, it didn't come from nowhere. It's a technology that's been built upon itself, and it actually started with something called 2G. And that was 2G and 3G is where everything got started, where we all started carrying cellular phones. When we get to about 3.5 and 4G, that's where the iPhone phenomenon kicked off, and lo and behold, 60% of the traffic today is carrying video. We're headed towards 4.5 and 5G, and when you start thinking about how this gets built out, the 2 and 3G network took 24 months to build. That's where we're building out a lot of fiber infrastructure to support those wireless towers. Takes a long lead time, but then as you move into the 3.5 and 4G, you're now building on top of that. With additional fiber infrastructure, the lead times are shorter, the construction requirements are less, and you're providing the densification that builds on top of it. And then finally, you get to the 4.5 and the 5G, which we're just at the cusp of. And that's where we're seeing additional capacity being built into the network, working with the cities and the municipalities. The time frame associated with that build is now less, more efficient, and we go deeper and deeper into the network. And in the end, by the time we're all done, it's going to look like the chart on the right, where we've got 5G wireless cells everywhere, providing the support and the infrastructure needed to drive autonomous cars and other illustrations or other technologies. So when it gets to the vehicle to network infrastructure behind it, the other aspect is in the purview of the cities and the municipalities. This is the vehicle to infrastructure or vehicle to network infrastructure that's associated with traffic signals and the like, right? Making sure that we are providing intelligent information so that cars can drive in an efficient and effective manner. This spectrum may not be licensed. This may be spectrum that is available and operated separate and apart from the 5G mobile infrastructure that we hear so much about. That then extends into using that same wireless infrastructure, again, that gets delivered across fiber infrastructure to monitor and manage road conditions. So rather than using apps like Waze, we're now getting it directly from the city itself that is now routing traffic in an appropriate way. So that's all I got to say, but thank you. Appreciate it.